welcome to my world. I'm your host, Kevin Rutherford. It is Friday, August 18th. We are here live. Today's going to go fast. We've only got 1 hour today. It's a free-for-all, anything goes. You can ask me anything you want. We don't have any guests. Pick up the phone and jump in. I really don't have a lot. I wanted to leave this hour open for your calls and questions. 855-950-3835 is the number to join us. Jump in right now, and we will get started. We've got a lot going on today. That's why I've got to cut it off after this first hour. I am going to head out to hang out with the folks at Azure. I'm going to go out and see their facility, maybe the farm. I don't know exactly what we're doing, and we'll probably spend some time talking about some projects we might be able to work on together. So I've got to take off after this first hour. So jump in now. Let's knock out as many calls and questions as we can, or if you have a topic, anything you want to talk about, jump in. A couple things while we're waiting. I want to get this right. Today's the last day of the Cardio Miracle sale. If you use Cardio Miracle, you absolutely want to get in and buy some right now, because you're getting about $25 worth of free product is what you end up getting, which is really nice. You're going to use it. You might as well buy it now. So if you buy either two 90s or 360s, then you get 15 single count sticks. I love those when I travel. I take those with me when I travel. They're really convenient. So head on over to the store. I also want to thank everybody for the amazing response on the MyFAC kits. The first aid kits, fantastic response. I absolutely love that. That may become a pretty big project for us. The idea of getting a real trauma first aid kit in every truck would be pretty awesome. Certainly can't hurt. A little PR for the trucking industry wouldn't be bad. And more importantly, just how many lives could be saved? When I saw the statistics of how many people just bleed out, and you don't have to know a whole lot. I saw somebody already asked about some training. There's several options. One thing they mentioned was every product in the bag has a bar or a QR code, and if you scan the QR code, it tells you how to use it. That's pretty awesome. That's a nice, quick way. I think they're all videos. And we may be doing some additional training for drivers. We have some ideas on that as well. So, and I felt the same way. What good is all this stuff if I don't know how to use it? Surprisingly, some of the most important things are really pretty simple to use. That many people dying from bleeding out is just, that can easily be fixed. You don't have to know a whole lot. There are a couple techniques, fairly simple to learn, that could save somebody's life when they're bleeding. So we'll be talking about that more as well. Calls are starting to come in. What else did I want to get to? This was kind of interesting. I didn't really see this coming, but Estes, another big LTL carrier, has made an offer to buy all of Yellow's real estate and terminals for $1.3 billion. Boy, that's a bold move. That's big. We'll see what happens with that. I thought it would end up being parceled out. I really didn't expect somebody to come in and make one offer like this. That's a pretty big bite for Estes, but it might be really smart on their part. On Monday, coming up this Monday, no, it's not this Monday. Yeah, it is. Oh, I can't believe how fast this month is going. It is the 21st. The founder of Broker's Edge and 360 Freight Solutions and Lura Miles, Jason Bach, is going to be joining us on Monday. Now, we had Jason on one of our spaces a week or so ago, and unfortunately, we had all kinds of weird technical issues. I think Jason was trying to do it from his laptop, and Spaces just does not work well. It's really made for the phone. So we had a hard time communicating, but we could see there was some real potential there. So we want to get Jason back with us. Jason's story is kind of similar to mine, except on the broker side of things. Started off as a broker, learned a lot of things, developed some systems, and then started training other people to do that as well. Still runs a good-sized brokerage, though. So, and he's got some interesting software that isn't out yet, so we could be talking about that on Monday as well. What else do we have going on? Jump in and join us. This hour is going to go quick, so if you've got a question, a comment, a topic, anything you want to talk about, 855-950-3835. Line them up, and we'll start knocking them down. I said this week I was going to go out and practice wing foiling until I get it, and I'm still committed to that, but we have had some really weird wind days. I've said I'm going to go out no matter what the wind is. If there's no wind and no real chance of wind, not a lot of point in getting out there. There's not enough I could work on right now. Like I said, my board skills, I'm to the point where I can stand on the board. I can move around on the board just floating in the water. That's about as good as I'm going to get on that. I really need time on the foil. And in order to do that, you've got to have wind. So yesterday it just died. I mean, nothing. Just went to under 5 miles an hour. Today it looks a lot more active already this morning. So when I head out to Azure, they're out in that direction. So I'll just take all my equipment with me. And maybe I'll get a couple runs in this afternoon. I feel like I'm getting closer. What I've discovered is, I keep hoping for this big breakthrough. Like I'm just going to get up on the foil and just start riding it. And that's not going to happen. It's just tiny little changes. I talked about that yesterday. And it's even weird because you're not really sure what you're learning. Like each time I get up on the foil, I get a little farther, but I'm not really sure how or what I'm learning. So, and I'm also getting in a little better physical condition for this. You use certain muscles and you tend to get tired out. And what day was it? Wednesday, I guess, when I was out there. I had one of those days. My very first run of the day was my best. I was nice and fresh, and then you start to deteriorate a little bit. Then towards the end of the day, I kept thinking, I'm going to go make one more run. And I was just so tired. It's not worth it. That's also when I know you're much more likely to get hurt. So I pushed pretty hard. I'm hoping when I go out, if I get out today or this weekend, that it will be the same way. I've gotten a little bit stronger, gotten a little bit better. I'm really close. I know I'm really close to just kind of getting up and starting to ride the foil. And then it will be just a matter of time. But that will be much more fun time. This time I've put in so far has not been fun at all. It's very repetitive. It's very tiring. Every run ends in a crash, and after a while the crashes get to be a little brutal. I'm pretty beat up this week, but I'm hoping I'm almost there. Hoping this weekend is kind of what pushes me over the top. And the time you can spend on the foil practicing is a lot easier. It's not as physically demanding. It's a lot more fun. So I'm really hoping I'm close to that point. Let's get to some phone calls. They are starting to come in, so jump in and join us. We only have about 50 minutes right now, 9 o'clock my time. I got to jump out of here and head on out to Azure to hang out with those guys. Let's go to Texas to get started. Andrew, welcome.
Good morning, Maha Roshi of the trucking world.
What's on your mind this morning?
Well, I've got four things, so a few things. One, I want to thank you for two things. One, getting me into the trucking world. I'm 53 years old. Last year, about this time, you took a call from somebody who was overanalyzing it. It sounded like, could I get into the business? Could I get out of the business? and you basically told him to get off his ass and do it. And I don't know if that person got into the trucking business or not, but I did. I listened to you.
Well, good.
And my VA counselor told me the exact same thing. One of the reasons I like going to the VA is because they'll look at you and go and use some colorful language and tell you to get off your butt.
Yeah.
And they paid for it. I got my CDL on October the 26th and my first job on the 14th of November.
Well, congratulations and thank you for your service.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much for that. And I'm currently a dirt hauler. I got a belly dump on right now. So
Nice.
if I get a little shaky in the voice, it's because I'm bouncing down a dirt road right now. Coming off
There you go.
You do it. But also want to thank you as well. April the 20th of last year, and I called you right after this. I had what my doctor called my first heart attack.
Oh, yeah.
Well, about middle of April this year, I had my second heart attack.
Okay.
And I've got now 2 stents in my heart. And I am fully committed on the whole your diet program, your eating ways. In fact, I just got finished spending about $300 on product off of your store this morning.
Well, thank you for the support.
The Cardio Magic.
Yeah, the Cardio Miracle. Good job.
Cardio Magic.
Yeah.
Yes, I got that one, and I got the coffee kit. And I've been doing Light Balance for a couple of years. I'm just now getting back on it. I got off the program and I got hurt.
That's what happens. Yeah. Hey, I want to comment on something, though. Don't you love the way that doctors kind of tell us what to expect? You just had your first heart attack.
Yeah.
Well, that's assuming you're going to have more. Isn't that crazy? They know that their system doesn't work. They know if you follow their advice, this is only your first heart attack. You'll have more. What a horrible system.
Yeah. Yeah, and I got my blood work done yesterday. I don't know the results on it yet with the VA. I go see them on the end of this month. And right now I'm on 7 prescriptions. And I'm starting with a new, that's a big bump, sorry. I'm starting with a new VA doctor, new program on the 30th of this month. And when I see the person, my first question is going to be, well, after I thank them, is okay. By the end of this year, I want to be off all my medications. What do I need to do?
So I'm glad you're taking control here, because that's what you're going to have to do over and over and over and over, because their approach is the opposite of what you're asking for. Their approach is it's always another prescription and then another prescription and then another. So you have to constantly remind them that your goal is to get off of these things. Now here's what I can tell you, though. He's not going to have any advice on how you should do that. And if he does have advice, it will be wrong.
I'm following your advice with that.
I'm
following your advice on all that.
They don't know how to get people off of prescriptions. They've never been taught that. That goes against everything they've been taught.
Well, I've been listening to you about that, and my approach is going to be, what do my numbers need to be for you to take this medication away? If they have to have my blood sugar has to be at this level, then we're going to work on that.
Let me give you one area where that's absolutely not going to work. Or it could work, but you don't want it to work. If that would work with blood sugar. What number should I get my blood sugar down so I can come off the metformin? That works fine. What number should my blood pressure be?
I'm not on metformin. I'm actually allergic to that.
Okay. Well, I'm just using examples like for high blood pressure.
Okay.
What number does my blood pressure have to be so I come off of lisinopril? That works there. Here's one area where you don't want to take their advice about this. If you ask them, what number do I have to achieve to come off of my statins, then they're going to give you numbers, and you do not want to get to those numbers. You just want to tell them, I'm not taking your damn statin. No, don't stay on it.
Right, and I'm
They're-
on one of them damn things.
They're not necessary. They don't do anything for our health other than destroy it. And the numbers they want you to get to are unhealthy. We don't want low cholesterol numbers.
Right. Well, I'm going to get my cholesterol numbers from this blood test I took yesterday.
When you get them, just throw them away and ignore them.
Right. Well, the blood sugars and all that. I've also asked them to check my vitamin D level, and so because I've been on a vitamin D drop I've been getting from your store.
Good.
So I'm going to see what that level is. Make sure all that's in good numbers.
Yep.
The other goal this year is I had my cataract surgery done on one eye at the last of June. Oh my God! I cannot tell you how much better I can see stuff. I've already saw too much I didn't understand. Now I see a whole bunch of more stuff I don't understand. And my second one comes up in about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I'm gonna get the other eye done. So for the first time, I'm 53. First time since I was 14, I won't need glasses. So that's part of my health goal this year is no glasses, no prescriptions, and I'm down. I've maintained in 2 years. I've maintained an 80-pound weight loss. I'm currently at 300, and when I graduated Marine Corps boot camp in February 2nd, 1990, I was 230 pounds.
Got
and
it.
that is my goal to get to by February 2nd of next year. That's just I want to be at that 230 pounds. And I love your diet plan.
Excellent.
Because it is eat fat, lose weight. I love that. You can't beat that. I mean, that's just.
I know.
But anyway, so I wanted to thank you for both of those. Basically, get off my whatever and get better. Be a truck. Do what I've always wanted to do.
Excellent.
And I'm sitting in an 06 Sterling. They don't even make this thing anymore, but we're rattling down the road with it. Which brings me to my other point. I have talked to drivers who have been driving for 25 or 30 years, and I don't know if they're telling me the truth or not, but they've told me they've never been pulled over. No roadside inspections at all. Now, I don't know if they're telling me the truth about that or not, but in my very short experience, I have been pulled over a total of 4 inspections, roadside inspections, 3 this month and 2 last week.
So let me address that. Is it possible for somebody to go that long without a roadside inspection? It is. Is it common? No, it's not all that common. But I can think of a time period, probably 10 years, that I didn't get a road. The last 10 years I drove and had my trucks at FedEx, I can't remember a single roadside inspection. So I went a pretty long period. In the beginning, when I was running over the road, I had, a couple here and there. I wouldn't necessarily call somebody a liar. It's possible. Here's what I think might be happening. You said you're pulling a belly dump. You're pretty local, right?
I'm a local, yeah. And I got pulled over within the last 2 within 3 miles of each other.
You're much, much more likely to get those kind of inspections in an operation like that. When I lived in Colorado, I did a ride along with a state trooper. And in Colorado, the state troopers are also basically DOT enforcement, commercial vehicle enforcement.
That's what they are here in Texas as well.
Yeah, so I rode along with one of those guys. And I was thinking we're going to be pulling over, semis all day long and over the road trucks. And we did a couple of those, but we spent a whole lot more time pulling over people like you, the aggregate business, the sand and gravel haulers, and all the way down to, dually pickup trucks pulling, front end loaders around and things like that. And a bunch of those guys don't even have DOT numbers on their trucks. And I was shocked at how much local enforcement we did that day, much more than over the road stuff. So being local, you're much more likely to get caught up in that kind of inspection.
Well, I'm wondering if I'm on a target list someplace.
No.
Because one guy pulled me over on Saturday, and I was on a dirt road. I had come off the main road, was on a dirt road heading to the dirt pit. And that's where he pulled me over, is on the dirt road, state trooper.
Yeah, so...
And he says, yeah, I've been working all day, and you're the first truck I've seen today, so that's why I'm doing an inspection on you. Well, and I looked up at the main road. I counted five semis going down the road right then.
Maybe, like I said, maybe he's looking for those local aggregate haulers, which they tend to push weights. Their equipment isn't always up to par. That's kind of the low-hanging fruit for those guys. I doubt that you, in particular, are on any kind of list. Is there a company name on your truck somewhere?
Yeah, there's a company name on the side of the truck.
So it's very possible that company is a target. The local, and this goes back to that local thing again, the local cops that patrol that area are familiar with all of the trucking companies, and they know some of them just have different standards, lower standards. They know that if they pull one of these trucks over, they're more likely to get a violation. So that could be. Now, you personally do not have a target on you, but that company might.
Yeah, I think it does. Now, this truck, we're bouncing it down dirt roads. We're on construction sites. We're not on smooth road all the time. So something getting shook loose, like a wire getting shook loose from a clearance light,
right?
Yeah, that does happen. I do my pre-trip. I do it twice a day. I do it, the morning, and I do it also at lunch.
Yeah.
And then I do my post-trip. I'm big on trying to catch all that.
Good.
And the truck was off. We turned the truck off and then get out, and he had his head stuck around the engine someplace looking for something. And when I got out of the truck, the airbags on the cab, they adjusted. Like, well, I'm 300 pounds, so I tend to move stuff around when I move around in the cab. And, so he heard that. He goes, oh, you got an air leak under that cab someplace. And now, everything has been a warning ticket, but still, I was like, I'm thinking to myself, really? I didn't say anything. I did not say, I really wanted to, but I didn't say anything. But I was like, oh, give me a break. But, stuff like that happens. Like I said, I've come off of being a rookie, and I've been listening to you. I've been driving. I've been practicing my backing and my driving skills and everything else. So good. I think I've now graduated to educated idiot, but that's what I'm at now. But I'm getting there.
Yeah, good. Well,
thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. Thanks for the call and the support. Keep calling in. We'll keep working on it. Let's go to Illinois. Alfred, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you, Kevin. I called in because I had a question about gliders. Okay. Are you familiar with the gliders?
I am.
These gliders,
hold on. I am very, very familiar with gliders. I'll go back, give you the history. Sometime around 08, 09. Now, I'll go back and talk about gliders when I first got into the business back in the 80s. You could almost always find a glider sitting at most big dealers, either being built or sitting there waiting to be built. They were used primarily for rollovers. If you had a truck that rolled over, the cab was destroyed, yank the driveline out of it, put it into a glider, and keep going. That was all we really used gliders for. Each dealer that built that glider only built a couple of them a year, and it was usually different models. So they never really got very good at this. And building a glider it's a pretty big job. I mean, there's a lot that you can do wrong, and gliders had a horrible reputation. You did not want to buy a glider back then. You did it because you rolled over your truck and you had this drive line, so you built a glider. Nobody wanted to buy them because they usually just weren't built all that well. So around 2008 or so, I get a call on the show, and they said, have you heard of Fitzgerald? And I said, no, why? And they said, well, they're building a lot of gliders. And I said, oh,
exactly.
Okay. Well, now the reason to build a glider was totally different. Now, this was during the time where we did not want these emission engines. We hated these things. We couldn't figure out how to keep them running right. We couldn't figure out how to get good fuel mileage out of them. So instead, we said, why buy a new truck with this technology that doesn't seem to work very well? Let's just build gliders with these older engines that we do know really well. So I reached out to Fitzgerald, and we had a partnership for a while. In fact, I started a business with Robert Fitzgerald, one of the sons. We had a truck shop. We had a truck shop for a while in Tennessee. We were going to focus on fuel mileage and preventative maintenance and upgrades and things like that. Unfortunately, his role in the family business kind of got in the way, and it didn't work out. So but I worked with them for 4 or 5, maybe even a little more than that, 6 years. We sold a lot of gliders, built and sold. We built a couple of them as what we called signature gliders, where we put all of our fuel mileage technology. The first one we built in 2009, I think it was. We built a truck that was getting 9 miles to the gallon, pulling 80,000 pounds. In the Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
So yes, I'm very, very familiar with gliders.
Well, I just found out about it. I was thinking of totally something different. And then when I was talking to this dealer in Illinois, and that's the thing, they specialize in gliders. And I didn't really know what he was talking about. So he sent me a link to go to his website, and then I started looking at it. All his gliders are already completed and DOT inspected and ready to be sold.
Well, technically...
So I had to do further study, and I wanted to find out what are gliders. So I went online and got a guy, and he told me about Fitzgerald, and then he said, but... The government came in and said in 2016 that these guys can no longer be doing this, and that this is supposed to kick in by 2021. And he told me no more of these truck dealers, manufacturers, were giving their gliders over.
Correct.
To anyone like Fitzgerald or anybody else.
Gliders are gone.
Yeah, so I want to know if you knew about these laws.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we followed this very, very closely when it was happening. I tried to fight against it. I didn't want it to happen, but it did, and it put Fitzgerald out of business. I mean, they were building thousands of gliders a year, and then they had to stop.
Yeah,
the government
they blew up. I know.
The government just said no more. Fortunately, they were smart business people. They bought a couple Peterbilt dealerships while they were making the money building gliders. So it worked out okay for them. But, yeah, you just can't build gliders anymore. There are plenty of them out on the market still, but they're only going to last for so long. But, yeah, we're not building any new ones.
This is why I called in, because I want to know if I had bought a glider, how long are they going to force me to...
I can't say for sure. We can look historically. Historically, the federal government has never, ever forced a truck off the road, ever. As far as the federal government is concerned, you can still drive a 1959 Brockway if you want, and there's no problem with that. There's one state where it would be an issue, and that's California. But other than that, the federal government has no restrictions against older trucks or non-emission trucks. We can keep them as long as we can keep them running. So gliders are going to be the same way.
Okay.
They're not going to come in and say you can't use that glider on the roads anymore. That's just not going to happen.
That's what I want to be sure. Because they got some good deals at this place. And they really want to sell them. They marked them down.
There's one.
I understood they were really expensive, but now they're very reasonable.
Well, okay. Do you know why they were really expensive and why they're very reasonable now?
I did not know that.
Okay. It has nothing to do with them being a glider. So let's just start there.
Okay.
That has nothing to do with anything. Every truck on the market has lost over 50% of its value from where it was last year.
Oh, okay.
That's across the board. That's across the board. It has nothing to do with the fact that this is a glider.
Okay.
Now,
yeah, because they put in new engines in some of these.
Well, hold on. Be careful how you say that. They're not new engines. They're rebuilt engines.
Rebuilt. Okay, rebuilt. Thank you.
There's a difference there. And that's part of the thing you have to be aware of. These gliders became so popular, and there were a couple of companies. Fitzgerald was one. There's another dealer in the Midwest. I'm trying to remember their name. I worked with them. They had a couple dealerships. They were big into gliders. Just not remembering the dealer name right now. And what was happening is we were running out of old engine blocks to build. And the Series 60 Detroit by far was the most popular engine to put into a glider. That's the one I was looking at. That's the one they had. The problem is, many of those towards the end, we were building blocks that should not have been rebuilt. They were too worn out. They had problems. That was one issue. The blocks should not have been rebuilt, and they did it anyway. The other problem is they were running out of parts, and they started to mix and match parts from different engine models. Like the Series 60, there's actually 6 or 7 different models across the years, and the parts would fit but not work properly. So we would get these trucks that they were getting really poor fuel economy, and people would come to us and say, help us with this. Why is this truck getting such poor fuel economy? And we went through everything. We couldn't figure it out. And then we finally figured out these engines weren't built right. And at that point, there's nothing you can do about it other than rebuild the engine with all the right parts, and you're looking at $30,000 now to do that. Mm-hmm. So you just have to be careful.
With these being,
when you buy these, you've got to do your homework. You've got to really dig deep. I would have no problem buying a glider today. I would, in fact, I probably would buy a glider today if I were to start a trucking company again. I would buy some gliders. I like them a lot. But you do have to be careful. The gliders that are out there that were built in those last 2 or 3 years, there's some gliders that just should have never been built.
All right. Well, my question is, this dealer, he provides a warranty, and he also has the DOT inspected. The warranty and the DOT,
hold on a second. A DOT inspection. Come on, that's almost a joke. Really, that is meaningless when we're buying a truck. The things we need to be looking for are not things that they really look for on a deal. I mean, that's obvious stuff. I mean, that's a violation. Okay, we have to fix that before we put it on the road. But that DOT inspection does nothing, zero, to tell you whether or not this is a truck you should buy. Now, let's talk about a warranty.
What about the warranty?
What if you show up one day and this truck is getting 4.5 miles to the gallon, and we keep going through a certain part, it just keeps breaking, and you say, well, what are you going to do? Well, nothing. We fixed it. Well, no, you didn't. It's still getting 4.5 miles to the gallon. It's got a horrible miss in it. Well, we don't know.
Yeah.
And what do you do if they just say, no, we're not going to fix it?
Yeah.
Warranties in my book are almost meaningless. If I have one, great, but that is never a reason for me to buy a truck. Explain what the warranty is to me. What is their warranty? Yeah. No, I'm asking you. Explain to me, what is their warranty?
Oh, I don't know all of the warranty. I didn't read their warranty, but in their caption when I was going over their website, this is the two things they had in big bold letters: warranty and DOT inspected.
Okay, so what if the warranty is just 30 days? If anything breaks, we'll fix it. What if that's all it is?
Yeah, I know.
Well,
yeah. We need to know what it covers.
Yeah, but I would just say forget it, because it's not even important. I don't care what they cover on the warranty. It's not going to make me buy this truck.
So because it's a 60 series, it's a 60 series, there's a red flag. Now, what are the questions I should ask them? concerning this. Do you have the right parts on it? I suppose
they're not going to know.
Or did you mix and match on it?
They're not going to know. They won't even know what you're talking about. They will tell you if you say, "Well, I talked to this guy on the radio," and they'll be like, "No, don't worry about that. That's not." They don't understand this. They have no idea whether that engine should have been rebuilt or not. I couldn't tell you. I can't walk up to the truck and look at it and tell you.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. He told me that the engines may not match the make of the body.
Wait.
It could be DD-15. It could be a Detroit.
Stop.
What's that?
No, that's not true. And what he's saying doesn't even make sense. What does he mean the engine might not match the make? What does that mean?
Because they swap engines.
But hold on.
And it may not be the same one that was in there.
Well, wait a minute. If it was a glider, there was never an engine in there. You're putting an engine in there.
Exactly.
Well, wait, don't say exactly. What he said didn't make sense. You're not replacing an engine. There was no engine. That's what made it a glider. It has no engine.
Yes.
So when he says it doesn't match the make or it might not be the same as what? This isn't a glider if it used to have an engine in it. We put a different engine in it. That's not a glider.
Yes, that's just my poor understanding about. Like I said, I had to go and find out later.
So when we say the engine doesn't match the make, well, if you're buying a Kenworth,
you
could have a Cummins or a PACCAR engine in it. That we don't engines
match the body.
Correct,
Sometimes
and I'm telling you that
it might be a Peterbilt.
Right, but you could have multiple engines in Peterbilts. You could have multiple engines in Kenworths. You could have multiple engines in Freightliners. The engine has never matched the body. We had choices on what engine we could put in one truck when we bought them brand new. So again, his explanation tells me really doesn't understand what he's saying or what he's talking about.
Well, it was just me. I didn't understand. Because when I look at a PACCAR, that body it doesn't have to have a PACCAR in that particular body. It could have another engine.
Well, but that was true of a new truck too. That's been true of every truck we've ever built. Now it's changing. It's been changing over the last decade. Now, when you buy a Volvo truck, you're going to get a Volvo engine. When you buy a Mack truck, you're going to get a Mack engine. When you buy a Freightliner, you're going to get a Detroit because Freightliner owns Detroit.
He mentioned that specifically with Volvo. Volvo is no different. But with the other ones, Peterbilt, Cascadia, you can have different types of engines found in them.
So
I understand that.
Right. So when he says that, again, his understanding of gliders is a little shaky, I think. But
well, it's his understanding of how much I understood. Because when I first talked to him, I did not understand the gliders. Like I said, but maybe he thought I did because I'm a driver looking for a truck. But actually, I found out about this place from another dealer. I called one dealer looking for a particular tractor.
Is the dealer name?
He said he didn't have that, and he said,
"Is this Harrison's?"
This other place. No, it's called I-294 Truck Sales, and they specialize in gliders. But I didn't know that until I talked to the guy, and I was referred to him by another dealer.
So I know nothing about this.
So, you know about it. I didn't know.
I know nothing about this particular dealer, but I'm always very, very careful on smaller truck sales like this, not part of a bigger dealership. Some of them can be fantastic. Many of them are kind of fly-by-night. I would be just very, very careful that you do your homework on these trucks. And buying a glider is more difficult than buying it. That doesn't mean anything. Bernie Madoff was around a long time, and he ripped off an awful lot of people.
Okay.
So don't think
right.
just because they've been here a
okay.
long time, every truck I buy from them is going to be good. It's not. It's your responsibility to do the homework on that truck. And I'm almost going to tell you, you should probably stay away from gliders. I don't think you have the knowledge to be buying one.
Yeah. Well, that's why I called. I did a little research. I heard one guy, but he didn't tell me about the laws that come about. So, but you did explain that if I was to buy a glider, then it'll be okay.
See again, I'm going to go back to you should probably not buy a glider, because all you really want to hear from me is that it is okay for you to buy a glider. The only thing I was answering was no, stop. You need to listen more than you talk right now. You called me for advice. I'm trying to give you advice.
Yeah.
So I've been doing this a long time, giving people advice. I hear things. I can read between the lines. What I'm hearing from you is really you want me to say, if you buy a glider, you're always going to be able to drive it on the road. I'll say that. I don't worry about that. That is not the issue. But you keep coming back to that.
Okay.
The issue is
the issue is
buying a used truck is difficult. You have to know how to do it right. Buying a used glider is even more difficult. There's more risk. It may not have been built properly.
Okay.
I want to know who built it. We may have used an engine block that wasn't rebuildable. We may have mixed and matched parts, and I can't figure. I can look at some clues. If I do a rig dig, I pull the ECM report, I can probably figure it out, but you can't.
Okay. Well, I've heard you talk about redigs in these sites before. If you want to do, about an engine, but I still have to get the information. I got to get a VIN number. I got to get. So yeah, there's a lot of work that I still have to do if I was going to look at it. But that's good because they're local. You see, if I can go there and I can get all the information and do that. So I got time. I'm not rushing into buying a vehicle. I'm in the stages of looking and checking. So yes, you're still reinforcing the things that you always reinforce. So I take that in consideration. I know I got to do the work, like you always say. Do the hard work.
If you are planning on continuing to look at gliders, I'll give you the process on how you should do it. You should run a rig dig and look for a reason not to buy it. If you find anything in the rig dig that looks shaky, just move on to the next vehicle. After that, if everything else looks good on the rig dig, we need a full ECM report.
Okay.
If you get those two things and you send them to me and call me, I'll help you review each truck that you're looking at.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome.
I got to go now because I'm coming up to my load.
All right. We'll look forward to talking to you soon. Let's go to Missouri. I got to knock out some calls here. I'm going to turn off the phones. Brandy, welcome.
Thanks, Kevin. Not to get scales here in Iowa, but hopefully I won't think too much of that.
All right.
I'm curious about when you were when the medevac thing. Was there liability on that?
What do you mean?
Well, I've seen stories in CDL Life, the app, and stories that come there in the Truckers News that somebody rescued somebody that was maybe overturned in a car, and when they got him out of the car, they hurt their back, and then maybe the family sued them or something like that. And I was thinking, well, if you were to do something with this medevac thing and you didn't know exactly what you were doing, and then the patient can turn around, the family can turn around and want to basically make you liable for their injury.
So here's the only way I could approach this. If that is a real concern for you, then I would say probably don't do it. For me, I don't even think about that. Well, then why are we talking about it? If you've already thought it, well, hold on. If you've already thought it through and decided that wouldn't stop me, well, then we don't need to talk about it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I've already made that decision. I don't care what might happen in court later. If I'm in a position and I think I could save somebody's life and there's nobody else around, I'm just going to do it.
I probably would too. I just think. Yeah,
well, see, this is similar to when people ask me, they know that I carry when I'm in my coach traveling. And they ask me, well, do you know what all the laws are in each state and each city? No, I don't. And I don't want to know. Do you know why? Because I'm going to break them anyway. So why do I care what they are? I've made the decision. I will have that weapon with me, whether I'm going into downtown New York City or D.C. or Chicago or wherever. I'm going to carry it. I'll deal with the consequences later if I have to. Hopefully I never have to. But I don't even want to know what the laws are. Why would it matter to me? I'm going to break them. The same thing here. I don't want to know when I might be liable trying to help somebody or when. I don't care. Because if I can help somebody, I'm going to help them. We'll deal with the consequences later.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. So I have some other really short odds and ends. Are walnuts an oxalate? I used to be really like almonds, and then I kidney stones, more or less.
Virtually all nuts are going to have some oxalates. Walnuts might be one of the lowest, if I remember right.
Okay. And listening to yesterday's show, have you heard that YouTube now is going to be governed? I think with the vaccine, that the WHO is going to basically determine whether YouTube will put that on YouTube or not. Have you heard that?
I don't know if I specifically heard it was the WHO, but I don't trust YouTube at all. YouTube's been one of the worst offenders when it comes to censoring. So I'm not surprised. And again, if it is the WHO, okay, great. Doesn't really matter because I don't trust YouTube. We use it, but barely. And mostly I use it so I can get my video off there and post it someplace else. And if they started deleting our videos, they really haven't yet. We're not that active on there. But if they did, I'd go to Rumble or some other site to post them.
I think that's it. There was another thing, but my brain's not allowing me to have it. So,
all right.
Thank you.
Thanks for the call. Let's go to Missouri this time. Tyler, welcome.
Hey, Kevin. What's going on today, man? How you doing?
Good. What can I help you with?
Hey, Kevin. My name's Tyler. I 30 years old, first-time caller. Real excited to talk to you, man. I just bought a Century 06 with an A cert in it. I called Pittsburgh Power, talked to them about maybe getting a tune put on this thing over in Effingham, Illinois. I took an oil sample last night. I guess my question for you is, what are your thoughts on putting the single turbo conversion on these motors?
No, don't do it.
It may be.
Hold on. You do realize that that's illegal, right?
The single turbo conversion? No, I did not.
Yes. Anything that modifies the emission system is illegal. And the twin turbos are part of the emission system.
Understood, sir.
So that's similar to what when you hear us talking about deletes on engines, when they're deleting EGR systems and they're deleting DPF, and ACERT is just a different, it's basically EGR internally. But anything we do to modify the emissions on that engine is illegal, and it's not a good idea. Now, I will tell you the tune. I've got an 07 ACERT, and Pittsburgh Power did the tune on mine. It's pretty incredible. I've got some crazy, hot, high horsepower tune. We did it just for the fun of it, and I'm about to turn it back down to something a little more reasonable, but it's a really good tune. They can do a lot with that engine.
Yeah, man.
But don't start deleting it.
Time.
Yeah, don't start deleting things.
Understood, sir. I've listened to you for a long time. Talk about that, coach. It sounds pretty cool. Other than that, Kevin, my next thing, this oil sample. I have the sample with me. Took it last night when I serviced. As far as getting the results to you, do I need to send this through? I think TA uses Mobile Express or something. I've heard you talk about Polaris. Your opinion? I can drop this thing off at Fabic Cat in St. Louis on the way home, and then send you the results. What's your opinion on the best place to send it, Kevin?
Well, we work with Polaris Labs. We have for years, and way back when we started, and I'm going all the way back to the 90s when I started doing oil analysis, we just looked at all the labs around the country and settled on Polaris. They had multiple locations. They were well-trained. They had good equipment. We checked their results. They were always accurate. Their customer service was great. They had training. So we've just been with Polaris for years. There are some labs that I would stay away from. There are some labs that don't have the right equipment to check fuel dilution properly. There are some other labs out there that are just fine. CAT samples are usually just fine. Blackstone. Polaris is just who we chose to work with, so that's always my first choice. One, because I really can, I know their oil samples inside and out. They check all the things we want to check. We know their numbers are accurate. So that would always be my first choice. Not to say it's the only good lab out there, though.
Understood, sir. Well, I'll probably just drop it off with Fabic on the way into the house today, or Monday, rather. And I guess send you the results, man.
Yeah, we can go over them.
All right, Kevin, I appreciate your time. Super excited to talk to you. Long-time listener, and keep doing what you're doing, man. We love it.
All right. Thanks for the support. Great to have you here. Let's go to Wisconsin. Dave, welcome.
Hey, Kevin. How are you this morning?
Good. What's on your mind?
Say, I got a electric APU on this new Volvo I bought.
Okay.
My question is, well, actually, I got a Maxwell start module on my old glider. I want to transfer it over to the Volvo.
Okay.
The question is there anything is there anything special because of all the electrical stuff on this Volvo now? I took it off my glider. There's very little electrical. So I wonder if there's anything I got to look out for to hook that up.
No, it's the install is still the same, because if the install is done right, we've isolated the start module from all of that stuff anyway. So the start module, when it's wired properly, the only thing it can send power to is the starter. So we don't have to worry about, are we going to mess up some sensitive electronics somewhere? We're only sending that to the starter itself. And then the only connection to the rest of the system is just the isolator that allows us to pull power off the other batteries to recharge the Maxwell. So no, it doesn't really change because it's a newer, more modern truck.
Okay, great. Second question. And is there a way now that I'm going to have this start module on there that I can hook those four cab batteries to add 4 more batteries to my APU?
Yes. Yeah, you
can.
Understand? Yeah, I do. You can. We can use all of our batteries for both purposes if we do this right. So we could be using what we call the house batteries. So that's the term we use in the coach. We have house batteries and we have starter batteries. So we can wire our starter batteries to provide amperage while we're using hotel loads. Now, the one thing we want to be careful of, and with the start module, it's not a big deal. In a system like that, you want to have some sort of shut-off that would shut those batteries off before they got too low to start the truck. But you don't have to worry about that. What you're going to do is you're only going to tie 3 of those batteries into the house batteries. The start module is always going to be separate.
Well, yeah, actually 4, because I've got an auxiliary
got it. Okay.
Mount for that start module.
Got it.
Yeah.
So you're going to, and then the other thing we can do is all 8 batteries can be wired to provide power to the start module if you need.
I see.
Now,
I see. That might be a little more than I can chew.
I was about to say, if you can find a good RV mechanic to do this for you, they understand those issues much, much better than truck mechanics do.
Okay.
So, for example,
that sounds like a possibility.
My coach has got 8 really, really big house batteries because I have no propane. I'm electric, everything on that coach. I have 8 giant house batteries. They're actually, each battery is twice the size of the Group 31 that you've got in your truck. So these are big batteries, and I've got 8 of those. Then I have 2 more of those as my starter batteries. But I've also got it wired with, I've got a switch right next to the seat, the driver's seat. If I go to crank the truck up and my starter batteries are a little low, I just press a button and the voltage from my house batteries flow to the starter.
Got it. Yeah, that's a little more for me to wrap my head around, but I'm sure I could find somebody. Like you said, I think there's a way that ties those APU batteries into the cab batteries now, but only in one direction, whereas it would provide power one way but not the other if needed.
Right. And again, it can be done so you've got 8 batteries running the house and 8 batteries that could also feed the start module. And that start module doesn't need much. I mean, so that would be a really nice system where I can't imagine you ever needing a jump start.
Right, and if I did, I pull a reefer and I got a 20-foot jumper cable, so that's no problem either.
There you go. So we have plan B, C, and D covered.
Well, now there's also a socket, like a plug socket, like you would have a block heater or something on the side of that thing, for winter.
Yeah.
And it says cab power. So I'm wondering if that's just, I don't know for sure, but that may be a way to charge those APU batteries separately.
Oh, so
everything is new to me on that Volvo, like
that sounds.
Power,
I was just going to say, it sounds like you've got shore power installed, which is really nice.
Yeah.
This to me,
I don't know. It's all new to me, brother.
This setup that you're talking about is what I was saying 15 years ago we should have had on trucks. I kept saying, why aren't we adopting the RV model in trucks where we have house batteries, we have starter batteries, we have shore power, we have solar. I mean, all of those things have been very, very common in the RV world, and they work really well in a truck. Your electrical setup is just about ideal as far as I'm concerned. Eight batteries to power all this stuff, an electric APU, a start module. That's a damn good setup.
Yeah, I thought so too, but I'm confused. It's a year 2017 model, so I know the newer ones will, even when the battery gets down low, will start up automatically. The engine will start automatically to keep it charged. I'm not sure I have that option on this one yet. I'm still learning.
Yeah, and again, that's a very common thing in the RV world. Virtually every RV anymore, all the way down to the Sprinters, they have electrical management systems with their generators. So I can set it and customize it. If my voltage drops to this, start the generator to charge the batteries. When it gets to this, turn it off. Don't ever start it between midnight and 6 in the morning. I mean, you can customize all of this stuff on RVs, and trucks should be the same way.
I agree with you, too. There's already a switch on the side by the seat there, but I think that's just to shut the power off to the truck.
Right. Yeah, it shuts off your whole 12 volts. So when you, and again, very common in the RV world because we park these things all the time and we don't want that draw. There's all kinds of things that can pull off that 12-volt system even when the key's off. So if you park over the weekend, it's nice. Just shut off that switch and not worry about it.
Gotcha. Now pulling my own trailer, my own reefer again, I might go back to the thought I had years ago about putting a diesel generator back there, hanging off the trailer somewhere, and just plug it in, and I don't have to do any of this stuff.
That's not a bad thing to have either. That's a nice backup.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you. A lot to think about. You know, it's the first time I'm ever going to put DEF in a truck. So.
Oh, yeah. The other way to go with your own trailer instead of a diesel generator is solar panels on the trailer and batteries. I don't know why we don't turn our trailers into big power stations. Total solar across the top and some good batteries on the trailer.
And then they could just plug that right into the side of the tractor when I shut her down into the socket provided. I have my own shore power source.
Right. You become your own little power station.
Okay. Lot to think about. Thank you for your time, sir. I appreciate it. You know, I'll be getting more of these calls on Friday with this Volvo.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks for the call. All right. I've got to wrap this up. I have got to head on out to the farm, hang out with the guys at Azure and see what happens. We'll report back next week, maybe. We'll see. All right, everybody have a great weekend. We will see you back here on Monday. Be safe, be profitable, be fit and healthy. Always do the hard work and master the journey.